Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. Tonight I want to talk to you about something that many of you have probably experienced but never really knew why you're experiencing there, or why your partner is experiencing that, or expressing himself or herself in that way, and why is it that the mood changes suddenly, and why is it that the energy doesn't seem to be just as it was last night or a few nights ago, or when same situation or same discussions were happening, but suddenly tonight is different. So the question is, why suddenly your partner, your girlfriend or your boyfriend, depending who's instigated that, because it depends on whose fault it is, so to speak, it has changed his or her mood. And you don't know why, because you haven't done anything different than the night before or a few nights before when you were talking or discussing things or similar things. So let's talk about that. Well, that has a lot to do with creating that atmosphere of psychological security. Psychological security in general is unattainable. It's something when you feel there is nothing that challenges you or bothers you or worries you or causes alarm or panic or anxiety or any of that, such as what the neighbor is going to think of me, if I'm going to lose my job tomorrow, if she is going to leave me, if my car is going to be broken into, if I'm going to have enough money to buy that thing, and so on and so forth, and do I get my exam passed. Everything that is involved in this journey of life also is the reason that why we are not going to be attaining that elusive psychological security. But in a context, we are all looking for psychological security, even though it's unattainable, at least to a certain level. We expect that amount of it to be a certain thing in our life, and we seek that in our relationship. You as a woman seek it in the relationship with your man, expect him to create that psychological security to that echelon for you, and you as a man seek that from your woman, and you expect her to facilitate that and bring that about in your relationship and give you that feeling of safety to be with her in a different manner rather than the physical safety that most people may talk this word means. Now let me elaborate. You're always trying to get to know and establish a certain kind of a healthy and safe environment for your woman, so she would feel comfortable to be around you. And the vice versa. And a wise woman who's interested in her relationship with her man, her chosen boyfriend, would also try her best to bring about that feeling of safety and comfort for her boyfriend to feel comfortable to be around her. Psychologically won't sting each other, psychologically create an atmosphere where you can be vulnerable in a way, or you can be yourself, or you can be romantic, or you can just be filled with good feelings towards each other and the relationship in general. That's what your expectation is, general expectations in a relationship, which is very healthy and it's necessary. And you try to strive for that. And what happens sometimes is not that you really wanted it to happen, you just don't notice that you're causing it, and you're causing that safety and feeling of comfort in that environment between the two of you vanish. Why? Because you simply don't think it through about what it is that you're saying when you're saying it. You know, just like you never find yourself to be urinating in the middle of the living room because you think that has a special place called bathroom, and you feel that this is not the place or time to do this. First of all, this is a living room. Secondly, everybody usually maybe in their nice clothes, so it's not appropriate to actually suddenly do what you do. So you realize very clearly that there's a place and time for everything. Even though you're in the family environment, and even though you're with the closest person in your life with, your spouse, or whatever the situation may be, and you feel comfortable and safe, but you don't go pee in the living room because you're aware this is not the place. You're aware that's not the time or place for this such thing to be done here and now. Well, the same thing happens if you consider your consciousness, where this comfort and safety environment should be created and plays the role in that relationship that we are all looking for between the two people. And it also, the same thing is expected. You expect the same thing happen in your consciousness, where the comfort level, the safety level, and the feeling of good energy and safe environment is supposed to be residing. And who's going to create that? Well, each one of you for the other would create that, responsible to create that. But and how do you create that? You create it by knowing when to say and what to say. Is it time to say a certain thing about a certain topic, or is it time to simply focus on what it is that you guys are involved in? If you're involved in a conversation about, I don't know, school, then you continue that conversation at that time. If you're involved in talking about jobs and money and finances or budgets, well, that's what you stick in, right? That's the normal way of starting, middle, and ending the conversation as it progresses. You don't suddenly, in the middle of talking about your budget financing, talk about an outing you had 2 years ago with a friend of you for a nice big hike. It comes to be a little out of place. Now, if it's going to be something that is not of your liking topic anyhow, and then suddenly you inject it into some of the conversation that you're having at the moment, that becomes really awkward and uncomfortable. And pretty soon, if you continue doing this every time that you're focused on a pleasant conversation, on a pleasant activity, and you bring about something that is not of choice and it's unpleasant activity while you're busy enjoying yourself, pretty soon this feeling of safety and comfort will vanish when you see each other, because you're no longer sure if he or she can stick to that what it is prescribed for that moment on the agenda, on the venue, to talk about certain romantic things, to talk about a movie maybe, talk about what you're going to do next weekend, or things of that nature, and suddenly something out of place comes to taking the attention of the conversation or the activity or the moment. No different than when you're playing chess and suddenly one of you start talking about exams or some kind of a soccer game. It just takes you away from the energy and the pleasure of figuring out and what you're really processing in your mind and the mode that you're tuned in and enjoying that. And suddenly somebody breaks that energy, that mode, and after a while, if this happens constantly, you suddenly snap at one night when this happens again. An out of place discussion comes along while you have something pleasant that you're busy with, both of you. And that is why the atmosphere of pleasantry and safety, that psychological security to that level, breaks and dissipates, and then you kind of go into your shell, the energy mode changes, and the other one doesn't know why this has happened, because she's been doing this or he's been doing this during the past many nights as well. That in the middle of something pleasant activity or discussion or engagement, maybe a romantic engagement, suddenly some topic of not important or is being focused on and takes the attention away, and it's been endured for a while but eventually snaps, because that's when that psychological security moment is gone and the person who's affected by it can't take it anymore. So it reacts in a different energy mode level. And then you wonder, what happened? I didn't do anything other than what I've been doing. Well, yeah, but you should have noticed, because what you've been doing has been chiseling and bothering and uncomfortable, and eventually out of attention and love and care, the person has endured it and complied to satisfy you, to help you, or to discuss whatever it is that you want to discuss, but eventually no more feeling that is comfortable for him or her. This is why you should focus that what you're talking about, what you engage with, stick with it when it's a pleasant thing and when it's not time to talk about something negative, and put a place and time for those things during the day. Once that time and place is gone, let's say, I don't know, from this time to this time, 3 to 5 or whatever, and once that's gone, then you no longer talk about it on that day, maybe another time. But you only focus on the wonderful things that you want to talk about and spend your time and bond with. And that is the key for you to know, is it time and place to talk about certain thing, or focusing on what is it that you're engaged in, and make sure that you comply and complete and both enjoy that mode rather than one breaks it because is somehow thinking about some other thing and gives priority or needs to talk about that when it's not the time or the place anymore. Now we know why this happens now. The question is it really important to be aware of the time and place and the topic of discussion, if it fits what you're doing, the activity and the energy and the mode and all that? Yes, of course. Why? Because we all want to grow something good. We all want to establish a good foundation for a relationship. We all want to share the pleasantries, the good feelings, the good energy, to bond on that pleasure and share good things and get to know each other on positive level, on romantic level, on personal level. And those moments should not be interrupted by topics that have no place to be there, and they're just a distraction or disruption of something wonderful that is about to happen. Look, you can't grow a good plant, even though if the seed is good, in an environment where it's polluted or shitty and dirty ground with not much of a good nutrient values. And so you want to create a clean water environment, a sunny environment, a good earth environment, so this seed can grow and you can take care of it by attending to it in a proper way with good positive thoughts and all the other good things that the plant needs to grow strong and healthy. Well, no good relationships can be grown, can be developed based on interruptions and negative subjects to come in to change the quality of the energy from that romantic one, that kind one, that sweet one, that pleasantry one, that pleasurable one, and then be interrupted with things that are not the time or place, part of the similar quality of the time and the activity that you were involved in. So you need to create that environment in order to be able to build a better foundation for a better, more positive and longer lasting relationship. This is why it's so important for you to know the time and place rule is very important, must be respected, and must be cherished, must be nourished, to be encouraged between the two of you, by the two of you, to create a stronger bond based on pleasantry, pleasure, and good feelings and good positive environment, and that psychological security. Hope that helps your relationship to get stronger and clearer. So because of that, after a while, you no longer see each other as that positive, safe bearer of the environment, that facilitator of that comfortable and happy and safe environment. When you see each other, you remember each other by the kind of energy that you have affected each other and influenced each other or presented to each other at these sort of circumstances. And once it continues, you reflect on that person based on the energy that you felt from them or was created because of their behavior or their choices. And therefore, it wouldn't be pleasant to see them the next time in the same kind of a light. You will see them as, cringing energy coming in, rather than, energy going out, arms wide open. Instead, you kind of cringe in because you feel like, I gotta now defend that safety or that good feeling that I usually have during the day, because she or he is going to interject with something that is not of my interest at the wrong time when I'm in a different mode with her and enjoying something, and suddenly it changes because she's not focused on that. She's focused on some of the things that is needed at the time, nor the place for it. And this is why it's so important to make sure that you don't change each other's representation by energy based on these sort of behavior. That's why it's so important to make sure that you see each other as a positive force and feeling to be attracted to each other because of the energy that you guys affect and exude from each other and towards each other. So you feel good to see each other, rather than before you know it, unconsciously you separate until it's a bit too late and too far. I'll talk to you soon.